Mr. Bhutar.
Mr. Chairman, I just want to endorse what they have said about the community conversations. In life,
Please use the mic so we can all hear.
in life, it is not the people but who move and change the world, it's the ideas. I think the open and free and exchange of ideas which happened on the day, communication, conversation, it was very well done, very good, and lot of people had a lot of things to do and they got things out of their chest. The fact that there were 125 people, that speaks of the fact that how many people wanted to share their ideas and their feelings. I think that's a good step and a forward step. And I think we will be benefited by their ideas. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. Seeing no other persons from the community raising their hand, I'm going to close Community 4. And we're going to move on to item 4. Actually, no, we're going to skip 4.0 because we don't have any personnel issues tonight. We're going to go to 5.0 curriculum, item 5.1, Common Core State Standard Implementation and Next Generation Assessments. Dr. Conrad.
Thank you, Mr. Bull. As you know, we are coming upon the full implementation of the Common Core Standards, revising our curriculum in all areas. And we will be 2 years, or actually less than 2 years now, a year from next March, we will be doing an online assessment with you this evening. Mrs. Morasso, our assessment coordinator, Mrs. Vitcheshaker, and our educational technology director, Mr. Lemoy. I'm going to share a little bit about this for 2 reasons. We're actually implementing a pilot right now over the next 2 months, I think it is. And we're going to find out 2 things from the pilot. One is, what is our true readiness in terms of technology? Even though we have machines that can do it, what really is our true readiness in terms of numbers of kids that have to go through there? And also, what kind of alignment is there with our curriculum and the new Common Core Standards? So I'm going to turn this over to Ms. Morasso.
Thank you, Dr. Conley. So this year we are participating. It's not on, is it? I'll speak loudly.
Yeah.
So as you know.
Michelle, could you slide your microphone over to her? That would be great. Thank you. Okay, we got it.
As Dr. Conway indicated, this year's first graders will be participating in the new national assessment in 2014-2015. The period prior to that administration is a period right now of tremendous new learning for both our teachers and our students. And we are fortunate this year in being able to participate in 2 pilots, the scientific pilot of SBAC and the voluntary pilot of the Common Core Practice Assessment. Kevin and Jaya and I are here this evening to share with you some of our new learning, some of our students' new learning, and some of the opportunities we've had to experience the ahas, the uh-ohs, and the oh my's. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Jaya.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you, Mrs. Morasso. Both these assessments, the SBAC as well as the Common Core State Standards practice test, will definitely be grounded in the Common Core State Standards. And the Common Core State Standards have quite a bit of impact on all of our curricula in our district. So our participation, as the first slide, as you can see, has 2 very important goals. One is that we look at the alignment, and second, that we look at our readiness, our capacity, not only in terms of the technology, but also other resources. So if we go to the Smarter Balance Assessment Pilot, as you can see, we have been selected to participate in the scientific pilot, and we are pleased about that for many reasons. One is to give us that opportunity, as you saw in the other slide, as well as to make sure that our students get that practice. There will be other opportunities to practice, but we felt that this simulation was perfect for all of our students. All 7 schools are participating. So this is a computerized test. We're going to make sure that in grades 3 through 8 in all of our elementary and the middle school will participate, 9 through 11 as well. Some schools have opted to test 50% of their grade level, of each grade level. Some have mixed and matched, so maybe they're testing all their 3rd graders, but 50% of their fourth graders. These tests, being that they're on the computer, we are trying to use the lab, and Kevin will certainly speak to our readiness and what we have done to make sure that this happens for us in Vernon. With the testing windows, we were given 4 possibilities, and it started, and 3 of our schools have already started with the tests. Northeast School, Maple Street School, and Center Road School have started last week. They're continuing this week, and things are going well. And as they finish, or they finish one type of test, they're giving us feedback, and we're collecting all of that feedback and passing it on to our IT staff as well as Mr. Lamoy, so that he can troubleshoot as we go. There are 4 types of tests, and just to, actually there are 3 types of tests. The type 1 test is all multiple choice, and students are basically at the computer. They're doing reading comprehension and then answering some questions. And there might be some listening activities, and they're responding. So there are definitely multiple choice tests. And some schools and some grade levels have been selected to do the type 2 test. And that particular test has 2 components. It has the multiple choice as well as some performance assessment, which we're very pleased about, because that gives our students, and that's not something new for our students. We've been doing performance assessments in our district already. So that gives an added value to that particular test and how the kids are doing. And the 3rd test is actually called type 4 test, and I did check about that and where's the type 3? Apparently they ran out of money and to create the type 3, so they just went with the type 4, which actually has 4 components to it. So first there's the multiple choice version that the students will take, and then next the students will be participating in a group activity. Students are paired, and as soon as they're finished speaking to their partner, they're grouped as a whole group. They would have a discussion, and then they would go back to the computer and answer some questions. And then finally there would be a performance assessment, which is a writing piece. So quite involved with the type 4, and our 5th graders in Maple Street are going to be doing just that tomorrow. So, and then we have, in addition to our SBAC, the Smarter Balances Consortium test, we have the Common Core State Standards Practice Test. This is produced in Connecticut, and we have some information. More information is forthcoming. We do know the dates, and we have provided that to all our staff. The key features, obviously the 2 major areas being tested, the English language arts, so listening, reading, speaking, and writing, and language in all areas, as well as mathematics. Just to speak to you about the mathematics real quickly, not just about the fluency, math facts, and numeracy, it's much more than that. It's application, and to make sure that our students are getting an idea how this test will run in the future is a great idea. So we've got this particular test, the windows, the window, there's only one, April 22nd to May 17th. We're looking for information from the state as to exactly how, which grades are selected, and how much of the grade they would want us to test in order to capture a good sample. This test, I think we've got English language arts and math. English language arts is 60 minutes, and then the math test is 90 minutes. And with the Smarter Balance, actually, it's a more intensive test, about sometimes 2 to 3 hours that the kids are being tested. So we've been given the permission to kind of break it up into at least 3 segments. So we're pleased about that. We have, these are also computerized tests. These particular, the Common Core State Standards Practice Test, we will have 3 through 8, and then grade 11 only. So 9th and 10th graders are not being tested. So we're trying to stagger our schedules, both for the SBAC, and this one, of course, we're kind of locked into this window, but because of our resources, we're trying to make sure that some schools are getting a head start, and then we're holding back with some grades in some schools so they can get into the next window of testing. All testing in Vernon should be completed by about May 24th. So I'm going to turn it next over to just a quick some samples of the SBAC. Mrs. Marassa.
Thank you, Jaya. Our participation in the scientific pilot of the Smarter Balanced Assessment Test provided our teachers and our students with an opportunity to take a training test, a training module. And I'd like to share some of the examples of that with you. So this is what our students will see when they access the computer. And we're talking about students beginning in grade 3. They'll ask to identify their name, their date of birth, their school. For the training simulation, they select a grade. I'm going to start with mathematics. The items that I'm going to show you are sample types from items that would be asked in grades 3 through 5. So one of our ahas was, we've been talking a lot on the 21st Century Learning Team about the importance of our students having keyboarding skills, because one of the items that they're going to need is to be able to generate a piece and compose a piece of writing. What we didn't really think about until our pilot, our practice assessment and running through these simulations, is that students will need also understanding on how to manipulate the mouse and certain navigational tools. They're going to need to know how to click and drag. They're going to need to know how to click, select, drag, and drop. They're going to need to use a scroll bar. They're going to need to know how to click on arrows to expand text and click on parts of the text to answer a question. So that was all kind of new learning for us. Here's an example of an item for mathematics. The question reads, look at point P on the number line and look at number lines A through E. Is the point on each number line equal to the number shown by P? Choose yes or no. Now, generally when we've asked students to answer multiple choice questions, we've asked them to select from among the answer choices A through E, which is the correct answer. In this particular item, you'll notice that students will have to respond to items A through E in responding to question number 1. So I'm going to say yes, no, no, yes, no, and I'm going to move on. Now, in the real assessment, which is computer adaptive, it will move the student either up a level in the question complexity or down a level in question complexity. So it just won't necessarily move them on to a different, another question, but it will base their question on whether they answered it incorrectly or correctly. Question 2. Jared is testing how much weight a bag can hold. He plans to put juice bottles into 3 bags. He wants each bag to have a total weight within the given range. Drag the juice bottles into each bag so that the weight is within the given range. Leave the bag empty if the given range is not possible using juice boxes. So again, this is an area where a student will need to click and drag. Click and drag. Now let's suppose a student decides upon review that he wants to change his answer. He's going to have to click the delete button first to get rid of one of the icons. So another little navigational tool that our students will need to be familiar with. Question 3, 5 friends ordered 3 large sandwiches. James ate 3/4, Caitlin ate 1/4, Raymond ate 3/4, Sienna ate 2/4. How much sandwich is left for Oscar? Now a student will need to manipulate a keyboard. Put any answer in here. And go on to the next question. Question 4, students are running in a relay race. Each team will run a total of 2 miles. Each member of a team will run 1/5 of a mile. How many students will a team need to compete in the race, or to complete the race? Choose the correct number. We'll say 10 and move on. Question 5, choose true or false for each equation. Notice here that generally most students are kind of familiar with just seeing the answer as listed as an answer choice. Now students are going to have to complete both sides of the equation in order to be able to answer true or false. So there's a double process here required.